Where are you on this?
You know, I don't think the comments were constructive at all, but I also think that, to be fair, we shouldn't draw conclusions that he didn't intend. I know personally about his feelings towards Haiti and towards Central America because when I was not a candidate for president and he wasn't a candidate for president, I went down there on a medical mission trip. I did about 200 cataract surgeries with a group of surgeons in Haiti and the same in Central America. And when we asked Donald J. Trump as a private citizen to support those trips, he was a large financial backer of both medical mission trips. So I think it's unfair to sort of draw conclusions from a remark that I think wasn't constructive, is the least we can say. And I think it's unfair then to sort of all of a sudden paint him, oh, well, he's a racist, when I know for a fact that he cares very deeply about the people in Haiti because he helped to finance a trip where we were able to get vision back for 200 people in Haiti.
Pastor, right, 85% chance of living a middle-class life in the United States. I mean, that's an irrefutable statistic.
And I'm glad you brought up the point of if you stay out of jail. It's easy to say if you stay out of jail if it's by your own volition. When we look at our criminal justice system, we see that when it comes to black and brown individuals, our criminal justice system is harsher on black and brown individuals. We can commit the same...
You just said we're not victims. That sounds like a victim.
No, we are not. We're not victims, but our society makes it such that if you commit a crime and you're black and brown, you have a higher rate of being in prison than your white counterparts. That is a fact.
So do you believe that Chicago's crime rate is the fault of Donald Trump?
No.
Detroit, L.A., Oakland, Baltimore? Is that Donald Trump's fault?
It's not Donald Trump's fault.
Whose fault is it?
But there are policies. There are policies within our society that make it so that those issues continue to be perpetuated in Chicago.
Okay, well, there's a lot there. Criminal justice reform, that's a big topic. Probably can't handle that in 2 minutes. But, I mean, there is a huge crime problem that has been exacerbated by open borders. African-American families and young men are hurt by a glut of cheap labor that's crossed the borders that has hurt the lowest wage earners in the country more than anyone else. And Donald Trump's actually trying to do something about that, including MS-13, which is plaguing the inner city as well. But you can go ahead, Pastor.
So we don't want to talk about policies. We only want to talk about feelings. We don't want to talk about facts. We want to talk about feelings. Again, President Trump has made it very clear that the only true way to eliminate those violent places like Chicago and Baltimore is to give real opportunities, to give real financial boost into these communities. It's not the police. It's the fact. It's the lack of opportunities. And when you look at the history of the world, from the French Revolution, from England, the revolution that's taken place, I don't care what color you are. If you feel like you're backed into the corner, and because of those few people who have and the majority who have not, I don't care what race you are, you eventually become violent when you're fighting over food. And that's what's happening in America. Listen, I said it earlier, Dr. King didn't die so that we can fight for bread. And the thing is, we keep talking about black America or black Americans like we're separate from Americans. We are Americans. What happens to me should happen to my brother, my sister, if you're an American. And the fact is, the Democratic Party for years who have used and abused the black voice in America, that, you know, we want to talk about what Donald Trump said in private meetings. Words do matter, but deeds matter more. Well, and the fact is, Democrats have been doing a lot of talking, but little deeds. That's
all right,
true.
Pastor, we're out of time. Wendy, could a confrontation be brewing? And a Democrat who's known Donald Trump since the Nixon administration tells us why the president is no racist. But we begin with liberal stunts versus conservative solutions. That's the topic of tonight's angle. Today was a day of histrionics and hyperbole on Capitol Hill as the DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen was interrogated by senators on the Judiciary Committee. If C-SPAN handed out Best Supporting Actor awards, a gold statuette would surely go to New Jersey Senator Cory Booker.
Why am I, frankly, seething with anger? The commander-in-chief, in an Oval Office meeting, referring to people from African countries and Haitians with the most vile and vulgar language. The language festers. Your silence and your amnesia is complicity. The fact pattern is clear of the threats in this country. I hurt. When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about his experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt and that pain and to dismiss some of the questions of my colleagues, that's unacceptable to me.
Tears of rage? That's actually bad acting. Give me a break. Now, did Senator Booker cry tears of rage when this story broke in his home state of New Jersey just a few months ago, where an illegal alien named Edgar Mendoza broke into a Trenton home and raped a 6-year-old little girl? Now, we looked and we couldn't find a single comment by Senator Booker about this heinous crime of unspeakable cruelty. Does he not feel the hurt of the child's mother and father? A crime that should have never happened because that man should have never been in this country, Senator. His silence is unacceptable and complicit, at least to me. Booker is simply out testing campaign themes. It's patently obvious. Oprah had her moment at the Golden Globes, and he's not about to cede that spotlight that quickly. No way. Here he was back in 2010, joking around with private citizen Trump. Seems pretty happy to be sitting with a racist, doesn't he? Booker's stunt today was an attempt to reinforce that Trump is a racist narrative. We've been seeing it all week. And for backup, 5 liberal congressmen and women are staging their own stunt. They're boycotting Trump's State of the Union speech. Now, what does that accomplish other than maybe give them another free night to binge watch on Netflix? And speaking of wasting time, the left-wing American press willingly lined up to do what they do best: play the hallelujah chorus to the Democrat storyline. For them, slandering the president beats reporting on his great economy anytime. Facts be damned.
The president is a white supremacist.
That is absolutely racism with steroids.
The president of the United States is racist.
We have a racist, a shameless racist who has hijacked the Republican Party, who has hijacked the Oval Office.
I would say, judging by his words and his deeds, racist. A hard rain is going to fall on Donald Trump and the Republicans who enable this sort of racism.
Now, a Democrat who's known Donald Trump for more than 4 decades exposes what the left is trying to do with their absurd charges of racism against the president. Andy Stein joins us from New York, where he used to serve as city council president. Andy, it's great to see you. Donald Trump's a racist. Donald Trump's, that's all we hear from the left. Donald Trump's a racist. You know him for 40-plus years. Tell us.
I know him since 1973, Laura, and it's ridiculous. If it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable. This guy doesn't have an ounce of racism in him. He judges people on the merits. You know, the first night he took over Mar-a-Lago, I think it was 85, he said to me, you know, it's crazy that they don't admit blacks in any of the fancy clubs in Palm Beach, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to change that. I think he sued the city of Palm Beach because of it. In Haiti, there was a big storm in 1980. I raised a lot of medical supplies. I was borough president then in Manhattan, and we were going to send them to Haiti, but we didn't have a plane. I called Donald Trump, 1, 2, 3. He gave us a plane to take all the supplies over. The largest congregation in Queens, Reverend Flake's Church, they needed some money for some of the poor parishioners. I called a lot of our liberal friends in Manhattan. They couldn't care less. And what happened was I called Donald Trump, and right away he wrote a check. You know, black unemployment is the lowest it's been since 1972, and Hispanic employment is the lowest it's been in 17 years. So this guy should get, the president should get a bigger black vote because he's done more for the African Americans than any president in recent history, that's for sure.
I think, Andy, that's what they're really afraid of. And The Atlantic just had a piece out a couple days ago where they noted that, in fact, his approval rating among African Americans has gone up since the election. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of support. He got more than Mitt Romney did in last time around, but he's improving. And I think that's the Democrats' worst nightmare. But the stories that you just told, those anecdotes, and you've known them for so long, I mean, that's what, you know, we all have stories like that. And it's outrageous that this narrative is allowed to be cooked into the media and the attempt to brainwash the American public. And Andrew, just as his friend, we only about 15 seconds, final words.
It's the old Democratic playbook, Laura, which is ridiculous, which is racism, sexism. In the meantime, the president is providing real jobs for real people in the African American community.
Fantastic. Andrew Stein.
Thanks,
here on the
Laura.
Laura Ingraham Show. And
when the commander-in-chief speaks or refuses to speak, those words just don't dissipate like mist in the air. They fester. The commander-in-chief, in an Oval Office meeting, referring to people from African countries and Haitians with the most vile and vulgar language. The language festers. When ignorance and bigotry is allied with power, it is a dangerous force in our country. Your silence and your amnesia is complicity. Right now in our nation, we have a problem. The fact pattern is clear of the threats in this country. I hurt. When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about his experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt and that pain and to dismiss some of the questions of my colleagues, saying I've already answered that line of questions when tens of millions of Americans are hurting right now because of what they're worried about what happened in the White House. That's unacceptable to me. There are threats in this country. You can't remember the words of your commander-in-chief. I find that unacceptable. Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful to be on this committee. I'm more than ever today happy I am here. Thank you.